We crave justice. We want the bad guys to lose, the good guys to win. We want Rambo to show up at the right time and take out the bad guys. We want Rocky to knock out Drago. We want everybody to get what's coming to them. We want them to get their comeuppance. We want just justice. And we have this moral reflex. We've had it forever. This moral reflex, this little alarm bell just behind the ears, and it rings whenever we see wrong being done. Whenever I see rioting, stealing, looting, cheating, lying, somebody kicking a puppy. In the olden days, when the world was small and the village was even smaller, that bell was great. You'd hear the bell, march across town square, box the offender's ears, get the scales balanced before supper. Justice done, chicken eaten, conscience clear. But now, through the miracle of modern progress, we can witness wrongdoing everywhere, all at once, all at the same time. From our living rooms, we can see a war in one window, a robbery in another, a celebrity apologizing in the next. Our little alarm bell designed for the occasional local rascal now rings like a cathedral tower during Armageddon. Just working overtime. I can see everything. I see all of the bad things in the world right on my phone. And what can I do about it? Nothing. Nothing. Except tap our thumbs in righteous indignation and fury. Same thumb that once turned the pages of Scripture now scrolls the book of outrage. We no longer need to be the virtuous. We only need to be aware of other people's sins. Awareness. Awareness. That's the new salvation that we get to enjoy. We used to hang thieves. Now we ratio them. We used to stone adulterers. Now we screenshot them. It's cleaner work, though not quite as satisfying. And so we stew in this perpetual moral fervor, disgusted by the world, yet secretly thrilled to have fresh proof that we ourselves remain among the righteous, just served up every minute of every day. Once upon a time, children dreamed of being heroes. Now they dream of going viral for condemning villains. The old prophets wandered the desert for 40 years seeking the truth. The new ones spend 40 seconds looking for their Wi-Fi connection. The result's the same: parched throats and bad tempers. Our ancestors feared God. We fear being unfollowed. They confess sins. We post them as think pieces. They sought justice. We seek vengeance with good branding. Every day brings a new shipment of horrors, shrink-wrapped and captioned for our convenience. And every night we lie awake, morally stuffed, overfed, but spiritually undernourished, wondering why we feel so powerless to all of it. The answer is simple. The moral reflex was built for action, not observation. It's a muscle, not a mood. Yet here we sit, trembling with unused virtue, our halos polished, but our heads and our hands idle. We care deeply. Oh, how we care, but only from the neck up. If Mr. Darwin was still alive, he might conclude that evolution has produced a new species, Homo indignatus, the outraged human. It feeds on offense and reproduces by retweeting. Its mating call is, "Can you believe this?" And so the world spins, not more wicked than before, merely more visible. The devil has not multiplied, only the number of cameras have. Evil has kept a steady payroll since Eden, but the reporting staff has exploded like so many other institutions. What then shall the modern soul do? Perhaps return the moral reflex to its proper scale? Use it not to punish the planet, but to repair the little patch of earth under our own shoes. Fix the fence, pay the debt, forgive the neighbor, raise the child. These are still scandalous acts in some places. And if we crave revenge, let it be revenge against our own laziness, our own apathy, our need to posture instead of performing. For it turns out that the surest way to balance the scales is not to smite the wicked online, but to live so well that their noise becomes irrelevant. That, friends, would be true justice, and it wouldn't even need Wi-Fi. We come into the world with a built-in sense of right and wrong, an ancient moral reflex. When we see harm, deceit, or injustice, something is awakened inside of us. Our heart beats faster, our jaw tightens, the mind screams, "That's not fair." For most of human history, that reflex was local. We saw the injustice ourselves, the theft from the village storehouse, the neighbor's betrayal, a tyrant in the square. Our nervous systems were built to respond to those things within shouting distance, but today we see everything. Every war, every tragedy, every scandal streamed directly into our palms in real times. 50 years ago, a person might have known the news from their town, maybe their country, but now before breakfast, we're witness to crimes, disasters, and cruelties everywhere, all over the globe. The human nervous system wasn't designed for this level of moral exposure. And it's just flood of injustice. So when you witness something wrong, even if it's 10,000 miles away, your brain doesn't fully distinguish between there and here. It's the same ancient circuit of fight, flight, fix. But you can't act. You can't punish the villain. You can't comfort the victim. You just know that it's happening. And that's the tragedy of the moral reflex during the information age. It's been uncoupled from action. We feel outrage without the agency to do anything about it. We feel guilt without capacity. We have compassion fatigue without any resolution. So it starts to feel like evil itself has multiplied, but often it's simply that our exposure to it has. The world hasn't necessarily gotten worse. Our window into it has just become giant and constantly open. And there's a cost to that constant awareness. It's a moral burnout. We scroll from injustice to injustice, unable to really fully metabolize any of it. Each offense demands outrage, our empathy, and moral energy, but justice requires discernment, not infinite outrage. We can't bear every burden, can't fix every system, or balance every scale. When we try, the reflex, which is meant to protect and uphold order, it turns inward. It becomes cynicism, apathy, or even despair. And that, of course, leads to a lot of bad things. And to head those off, we have to make a shift. The challenge of our modern age isn't to feel less, but to feel more wisely, to channel the moral reflex back towards what we can actually affect. It's our homes, our work, our communities, our craft, ourselves, to stop mistaking awareness for responsibility. The goal isn't to shrink our compassion, but to relocalize it, to aim it where our hands can reach. Famous one, tend to the parts of your garden you can actually touch. Justice still begins where it always has. Not in the comment section, but in the soul. There is a major biological factor to all of this. Even infants show signs of moral discernment. There was this study done at Yale, they called it the baby lab. They found that 6-month-old babies prefer helpers over hinderers. They'll reach for a puppet that helps another climb up a hill rather than one that pushes it down. And the kids can also show empathy to stress. They cry when others cry, even if it costs them nothing to ignore it. And it's something you see with the little kids. If you hurt yourself or you're sad, they will look very, 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 very sad. And that's because they are very empathetic. From an evolutionary standpoint, that makes sense. Social groups that rewarded fairness and punished cheaters survived better. Justice wasn't a luxury, it was a survival strategy. So we evolved moral instincts similar to hunger or fear, a justice reflex. So there's this balancing instinct when we see something wrong. All of these things, our heart rate spikes, our amygdala lights up, we feel anger and disgust. That physiological surge is our ancient code saying that's wrong, that violates our tribe's order. So it's our desire to balance the scales. It's an attempt to restore homeostasis, moral equilibrium. It's the same as when your body is fighting off an infection, when something invades the order, the immune system, our moral or physical, is activated. And that's why revenge feels right at first. It's our nervous system trying to reestablish that equilibrium. Justice, ideally, is the socially evolved version of that instinct. It's codified, it's restrained. There's procedural revenge on behalf of the group rather than the individual. And we all experience this and have our lived experiences through our upbringing that refine that instinct. Some people's justice response is trained towards forgiveness and restoration, think turn the other cheek. Others, through trauma or environment, learn to preemptively strike or distrust justice systems, leading to personal vengeance. So, our early experiences, how we saw others punished and rewarded, that shapes how our systems are firing as adults as well. So there's a moral nature or moral element to this, obviously. When we see wrongdoing, our DNA, our programming, and our experiences converge in a flash of moral arousal. It's a sacred, almost chemical reminder that we live in a moral universe. The question then becomes, what do we do with all that energy? Because revenge burns hot and fast. Justice channels that heat into light. So, we human beings crave justice from an evolutionary function standpoint, from a social signaling standpoint, from a moral and emotional standpoint, from a cognitive decision standpoint. We want justice. We want revenge. We want to see those scales balanced, but it is just impossible for us to do all of it without being able to take action. And when we see it happening all around us, and we see what we know to be true, what we know to be accurate, not being honored and not actually being acted upon, that continues to atrophy it. It continues to make us frustrated. And when things go unpunished, it just doesn't make any sense to us. So our desire for revenge, I think it's very natural, and it should never be treated as any kind of a moral failing. It should be treated and thought of as data. It tells you that something was violated, that you perhaps feel powerless. So our job is to translate that raw feeling into something that reduces harm and strengthens people. That's the arc that lands with dignity, righteous anger, structured response, lasting improvement. I think a lot of this also comes down to, from a societal standpoint, you get what you tolerate. And we know that that's true. So when we allow bad behavior, when we allow crimes to go unpunished, when we allow criminals to just continue walking the streets and continue to harm, when we tolerate our politicians constantly lying to us, and intolerate, I mean, we don't do anything about it because we feel as though there's nothing to be done about it. It just it causes us to be unhealthy. It causes us to make poor decisions, and I think all roads lead to where we are today, which is at a bit of an impasse. We're at each other's throats. We feel like the others are performing and acting in an unjust way. And that's going to lead to everything that I've been talking about here today. So it's coming upon ourselves, as I'm always talking about, to really put a sharp focus on those things that matter most to us, and to have a deep recognition of what parts of our garden can I touch, and to let the rest of it go, because there is a cost to it. There is a high cost to allowing all the injustice of the world to flow through us. It's existential, it's physical, it's emotional, it's psychological, it's all these things. There's a cost to it. There's a cost to witnessing and seeing terrible things. There's a benefit to only allowing certain things. So to be a good curator and a good steward of the information that we are allowing into our heads. Because again, there's a huge cost to that. When you focus on one thing, you're deciding not to focus on other things. And when you're putting your brain and your subconscious mind to work on negative things, like I've been talking about, it doesn't allow you, that's just taking up bandwidth. And we don't have an unlimited amount of that. So what you could be focused on, you're choosing to focus on things that are destructive versus constructive. And I'm certainly not saying that I'm saying 1,000% that we should focus on creating a just, fair, honest, high trust, reciprocal society. That's what it's all about. And we start doing that within ourselves. We start doing that within our families. We start doing that within our communities. And then, of course, I think it is really important to pay attention to what's going on in your local world and to assert your energy, to apply your energy there, because that's where you have the greatest ability to impact. I have very little impact in the ability to impact what's going on the other side of the world or in different state in the United States, but I have the ability to influence and impact things that are going on here locally. So when you see something, do something about it. As always, do your part by doing your best.